All right, we've got some very funny stuff coming out of Maricopa County. And by funny, I mean kind of horrifying. Kind of horrifying. This ballot recount going on in Maricopa County, Arizona, is reaching its zenith. It is getting to the top. We are about to summit, and things are popping off. We've got Congress desperately calling for an audit of the audit, because audits now work when audits didn't work, when audits did work. We've got the audit suddenly needing a national congressional review of what's going on. We've got the Maricopa County Twitter account melting down in real time as the Senate report is going on from Cyber Ninjas to the senators. It is great. And it all starts in one news story from 2 days ago. And we're going to talk about that and then what's been happening since. I'm Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. I'm a lawyer. I'm also a legal and political commentator on YouTube and on Odyssey. Wherever you're watching, hit like, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, do all that great stuff. Let's get into this. Okay, this is from the Arizona Mirror 2 days ago, and you can find this story on a bunch of other publications as well. Karen Fann, the Senate GOP leader in Arizona, has said that the audit team and Maricopa County have different ballot totals. And oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What does it mean? What does it mean? It means that the ballot totals are different. What does it sound like it means? So the audit has produced different totals than what is quote unquote official, what was certified. Now that inherently doesn't mean anything. If the totals are 1 to 100 ballots apart, that's a drop in the bucket compared to 2 million ballots, right? That's not much. But what if they're 10,000? What if it's 20,000? What if it's 100,000? At what point does it become a big deal? At what point does the discrepancy become real? We've also got other things going on. Let's just overlook for a fact that they're talking about severe duplication of ballots both in Maricopa and in Fulton County, Georgia. But what does that mean? What does that mean? One of the things that's been going on here is we've got to calm our sense of sensationalism, right? Because it could simply mean that there's duplication as part of the process, and that the duplication is accounted for or dealt with somewhere else. Of course, this could all have been resolved if they just turned over the data when it was requested. But that's the problem, right? A failure in both Fulton County and Maricopa County of the actual officials to turn over data when requested. They didn't do it. So now they're getting their data audited, and people are finding discrepancies saying, whoa, wait, this doesn't match up. And like, what's happening? So, well, maybe you could have let us look at it, but you didn't. You didn't do it. Now we're months into some new people. Let me be very clear. There is not currently a constitutional mechanism to replace the president of the United States. And this recount happening in Arizona is, according to Karen Fann and the people putting it on, not intended to do so. It is not intended to influence the 2020 presidential election. But that's kind of specific. Is there a possibility that it could influence the 2020 Senate election? Suddenly, Fulton County and Maricopa County seem like kind of big deals, because 1 or 2 senators swinging from one side to the other would be very big deals in the current climate. It would change the entire political landscape. And so we have to start asking questions now, because while there's not a constitutional mechanism to undo a presidential election, there is a constitutional mechanism to recall a state senator or a senator from the state to the United States. Because prior to, I think, the 17th Amendment, the senators were not popularly elected. They weren't elected by the people. They were appointed by the Congress of the state and sent to Washington to represent the state's interests, not the state's people's interests. That's the House of Representatives. Very, very different. Then the 17th Amendment comes along and adds in the the popular election of senators. Now they go on the ballot with everybody else. But what it didn't do is it didn't remove the ability for states to recall senators. So now we've got questions. We have 10th Amendment issues going on. Does the state have the power to recall a senator that it determines later was improperly elected? We don't know. We don't know. But man, they're really, really scared of these news things going on right now, these news stories. That's why the U.S. House is pushing for an audit of the audit, right? They've got to discredit this thing right away. They are on full-on damage control. They haven't released a number yet, Fan told conservative radio host Mike Broomhead in an interview on KTAR. However, we do know that those numbers do not match with Maricopa County at this point. Fan's revelation comes as the election review team prepared to begin a new count of the ballots. The audit team finished its hand count of the ballots in the presidential and U.S. Senate races in late June when the Senate's contract at Veterans Memorial Coliseum ended, but the team moved the ballots to nearby Wesley Bolin Building at the old State Fairgrounds near downtown Phoenix, where other work continues. The Senate obtained 2 paper counting machines that will tally the total number of ballots without recounting the results of any races. Fan told Broomhead that the new count would begin on Tuesday. So here's where we've got the problem, right? We've got different ballot totals. We've got questions about duplication of ballots. There's testimony going on today that shows duplicated serial numbers from multiple ballots. We saw testimony from Tucker Carlson. Well, not testimony in the sense of in a courtroom or in an official proceeding. Tucker Carlson was relaying some of the video evidence of duplicated ballots in Georgia. Now, again, for the purposes of YouTube specifically, but also in general, we don't know what the duplication means. We don't know anything about that. It could be a part of the process. And if the process were open to the public and open for legitimate and meaningful public review, maybe this wouldn't even be a question. Maybe it's just normal. But we don't have meaningful public review of elections. And that's what a lot of people are waking up to. Right now, all of our elections are being run on, bro, trust me, it's accurate. I'm the government. I reviewed my own procedures and found it fine. Now let's go and look at the Maricopa County Twitter page real quick because this is glorious. 17 hours ago, Maricopa County is tweeting about the Phoenix Suns. They're getting no interaction. And then suddenly the shrieking begins during this hearing. During the hearing that has been broadcast, it's out there. People are watching it live at the time. And Maricopa County, suddenly it looks like their Twitter account has been taken over by like a female online streamer who's always like, oh, I love you so much to the chat or whatever. And then they find out that she's actually had a boyfriend the whole time. And she's just been sucking their money out like some sort of undead harpy, right? Now suddenly she's on Twitter like, I gotta type, gotta control the narrative. Here we go, Maricopa County. A few comments as we follow along with the Senate hearing featuring 2 senators out of 30 about the audit featuring the guy who cites his Antrim County work as a positive qualification. If you don't subpoena it, there's a reason you don't have it. Maricopa, let's have a brief reminder of how that subpoena process worked out before. You've resisted every single legitimate Senate subpoena. You took them to court. You lost. You continued to resist it and had to lose in court again. Let's calm ourselves on the subpoena stuff here. The federal EAC says uncertified people cannot handle certified election equipment. The people testing are uncertified, always have been. This cannot be glossed over. Except the problem that you've got, Maricopa County, is people don't really buy the certification anymore. They don't trust the certifiers. And if they don't trust the certifiers, they don't care about the certification. Now they want an outsider to look at it and say, wait a minute, we haven't had meaningful public review of this stuff. We want someone else to look at it. We want our people in there. That's what people are saying. You're going to deny the people? RE security. According to EAC, we cannot update our systems through security patches. That is why we maintain an air gap system. Installing security patches would be changing the system that was certified. Finally, baseless allegations from Ben Cotton, who is not EAC certified, are ridiculous, coming from the guy who falsely said we deleted files and then had to walk it back at least one of those hearings. But look at this. This is all them frantically tweeting, more than they ever tweet, with more interaction than they ever got, making snarky comments. This is a Maricopa County. This isn't some person in Maricopa County who's been monitoring this from like the Democrat side, making a snide remark. This is a county official. This is a certified or verified by Twitter county official Twitter account. And did he just say kinematic artifact detection with a straight face? It's complicated and difficult for Senate contractors to do this audit because they are not qualified to do this audit. It'd be like asking Doug Logan to play point guard for the Suns. That would also be complicated and difficult. Actually, it wouldn't be complicated and difficult for someone who doesn't have the physical ability or the extreme amount of practice to complete or to play for the Suns. They could play point guard. Anybody who could play point guard could play point guard for the Suns. They'd just get trounced. It wouldn't make it complicated and difficult to actually play the position. And right now, you're trying to be the team trouncing the unqualified person. But the problem is, Maricopa, I think the people don't really care about your qualification anymore. It all comes full circle. Now we have a Sharpiegate reference. How many conspiracies are we up to? Listen to the dismissive, snarky, juvenile tone that an official government account is taking on Twitter. Let me just suggest, they mad. They mad. Why are they so mad? If this thing's such a joke, if it's so in the bag, why are you so mad about it? Why the histrionics? Also, we never said the paper wouldn't bleed through. We said the alignment marks do not impact tabulation. # just the facts. Not saying there's fraud, just holding an official live event questioning every part of the certified election, but only focused on one county prior to the release of an official report with only 2 of 30 senators present. Karen Fan, essentially. These guys are salty. Whoever's running this account is not running it in the way that a government account is typically thought of as being run. Right now, it's being run kind of like, a high school to college age Twitter user. And it's a little embarrassing for Maricopa, because if they had conducted themselves with decorum from the start, if they had complied with Senate subpoenas, if they had just gone ahead and allowed meaningful public review of what was going on, rather than saying, you idiots can't count ballots, only we have the power to count a ballot. You're not qualified to count. What is wrong with you, you peasant? We will do the counting. If they had just taken some of the early steps, maybe they wouldn't be here. And that rings true across the entire 2020 election at the end of the day, at least in my opinion. But I'm me. What do you guys think? Drop a comment down below, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace. Peace.